wetland centre. I mean, people think of us as ducks and birds, but there's lots of great things to do depending on who you are and what your interests are. I mean, we have 8 wildlife hides that if you're into bird watching or photography, you can go to any of those. They've all faced our sort of wild areas of the centre. We have a living collection of 40 species of wildfowl from around the world that you can walk along the pathways and see. They're all species that we're working with to save in some ways, habitats or sometimes direct species. Here we've got a wetlands discovery boat safari that runs every day of the year that takes you through a wetland habitat that's got 5 different types of habitat in it with a wildlife guide, and you can see maybe water voles or sometimes kingfishers, dragonflies, butterflies.
I've always had a massive passion for wildlife, so it's always been something in the back of my mind. Oh, it'd be lovely to work somewhere like this in the future. Took me a bit of time to get there, but through a bit of studying, a bit of job experience, volunteering, I managed to secure the job here at Arundel Wetland Centre. Most obvious species that we survey here is the birds that like to visit us, whether it's wintering birds or summer migrants as well. So there's various methods of doing that. We do 3 breeding bird surveys that count the number of singing or nesting birds that we see during the survey. And then we also monitor things like the wintering wildfowl that come in as well. But then there's all the other species around that, so we're lucky to have things like dormice using the hedgerows, water voles using a lot of the water bodies here, reptiles, insects, things like butterflies as well. Just walked along the vegetation here, and a female mallard has just come off of this nest. There's what's there, 7 eggs there. So hopefully she'll produce 7 ducklings as well. So we're out here on what we call wetlands discovery, and I'm carrying out a reptile survey. Now, one of the main reptiles we have out here is the grass snake. Around the site we have these metal tin sheets. The grass snakes love to warm up underneath here, so they've just come out of hibernation. They want to warm up, they want to get active. The females to mate at this time of year, and then later on, around about June, the female will search out somewhere nice and warm, some rotting vegetation somewhere to lay her eggs. We check what's under the tins once a month, record those numbers, and also photograph the pattern underneath the grass snake so we can identify individuals.
On the weekends and holidays from April to October, families can go to our Pond Explorer station and do pond dipping with the learning team. On days when it's a bit quieter, they can take their little discoveries in dishes and look under our video microscope and get close-up views of the mini beasts.
Tiny snail.
A bit big.
midge larva.
Midge larva.
And a lesser water boatman.
And a lesser water boatman.
So there's a lot of different habitats out here, all have got their quite specific managements, but a lot of it really at the end of the day is stopping the process of the whole area turning to woodland. If we didn't manage the site, then we'd lose the diverse range of species out here. So really at the end of the day there's a lot of cutting, so removing vegetation from certain areas to keep it as we want it and keep the species that we're looking after to live into that sort of habitat. Depending on what species you're surveying, it may be that we do things like the dormice, we do those once a month. So we've got some little boxes that we put out around the reserve and we'll go and check those once a month from April to November. A dormouse survey tube. We hang this up in the hedgerow with these wires on a bit of bramble or branch, so they're horizontal, and then the dormice find these and they like nesting in the ends. If you turn it around you can see one end's blocked. This is tube number 1, and then when we check it we can slide that out, and normally the dormouse will nest in this area here. So like the boxes, we use the stuffer, block the end up before we take it out of the bush, drop that in the bag, and then we can slide the carton out and check while it's all in the bag. I think the best thing of working here is really the intimacy. It's a very small nature reserve, as nature reserves go, but in the smallness in size it makes up for a huge amount of biodiversity out here, and every year we see something different, or some maybe behaviour or certainly different species each year. It's fantastic to be involved with that.